becoming a first world country. However, before we talk of our medium and long-term strategic plans, I need to first remind the country about the really interesting and challenging 2020, pronounced as 2020 by some of the Basque and some other interesting Ugandans. Other interesting Ugandans who also started 2020. Came with locusts, floods, the rising levels of the lakes, landslides, floating islands, etc. Soon after, Corona came in, starting with March 2020. I'm happy to report to you what everybody knows. Uganda did not only manage to cope with this challenge, but also the economy managed a modest expansion of 3% for the financial year 2019-2020, and we manage another small expansion of 3.3% for the financial year of 2020-2021. So, if you check globally, many countries achieved minus rates of growth. But here, in spite of all these multiple issues, the economy has been able to expand, but at a lower speed. If it had not been for Corona, the economy was projected to grow by 6.3% and 6.2% in the financial years 2019, 2020, and 2020-2021, respectively. We defeated the locusts and coped with all the other problems. You remember they were saying that locusts were going to finish all the food. But I don't think those locusts were given a chance to eat much food, because we killed them. And I want to salute the UPDF for doing that. In 1964, on the 14th of May, Lake Victoria set a record when its water level reached 13.41 meters at Jinja. For the first time since records started being kept in 1904. On the 14th of May 1964, Lake Victoria, measured at Jinja, reached the highest level at 13.41 meters. This was the highest since records were started being kept in 1904. Indeed, right from 1961, there had been a lot of floods. My family being nomadic at that time my family was still nomadic. We were not as settled as we are now. I remember the inconvenience of the flooded plains of Kashari. That time, the plains, what are called Empita, in one of those dialects, of Lyonza, Kachigonjo, Ruera, Katebe, Nyakshara, etc. were all flooded for much of that time. And that was the time transport on the lake disappeared. That was the time Butiaba, the port, was flooded. Bukakata was flooded, Namasare was flooded. That's when lake transport stopped because of the flooding of the landing sites. It's only recently that we have restored some of that lake transport. So that was 1964. However, on the 19th of May, 2020, the lake achieved a record higher than that of 1964. It measured 13.49 meters. That was last year on the 19th of May. The lake, not being satisfied with that record, on the 14th, 15th, and 19th of May, just recently, 2021, it reached the highest level point, the highest point ever of 13.50 meters. On the 31st of May, it has slightly reduced to 13.42 meters. This is all in spite of us releasing much more water at Jinja than ever before. Because that water is controlled at Jinja, that dam. That dam helps us to control the water. Normally, we release 800 to 1,200 cubic meters of water per second. 800 to 1,200 cubic meters of water per second. Today, however, we are releasing 2,400 cubic meters per second. If we did not release a lot of water, much of the lake shore would be flooded. In 1964, they could only release a maximum of 1,300 cubic meters per second. Today, however, because we built new outlets at Jinja, we can release up to 3,000 cubic meters per second. So the worry which people had that the dams, the power dams will be flooded cannot happen, because we are able to release a lot of water than they were able to do in 1964. That is how we have been able to cope with this lake that has been so high and for so long. Because you can see, for the whole of last year, the lake has been above the 1964 record of 13.41 meters at Jinja. All this time it has been higher than that. In addition to dealing with the locusts, the rising lakes levels, the landslides, the floods, we are to deal with the deadly phenomenon of the corona pandemic. On account of the tough measures we took quite early, we avoided the sort of catastrophe we saw in other countries. However, on account of the widespread reckless behavior, we are now entering a new phase with a wider spectrum of variants of the virus that may be more dangerous. Up to now, 49,761 people have been infected cumulatively to date. This was up to the 1st of June. 46,150 of these have recovered. Therefore, many people recover from corona if they are well treated and in time. However, the coronavirus is very dangerous because it targets epithelial cells. These are type of cells in our bodies called epithelial cells, which line and create protective barriers in many organs of the human being, including the lungs, the heart, blood vessels, kidneys, liver, and the digestive tract. This virus can cause the damage of those organs even if the patient recovers. Fortunately, as you can see, many Ugandans have recovered completely and with no damage that is permanent to their body systems. Nevertheless, the best is to avoid this disease until one is fully vaccinated, and we maintain the SOPs until the pandemic in the world is defeated. Really, this is the wisest thing to do. With the vaccination, we recently hit a snag when, on account of the very bad situation that developed in India, that country stopped the fresh exports of the vaccine. My advice to the countries that are producing vaccines now is to be careful with this point. I had the same problem with sanitizers here, as I said the other day. Being big Waragi producers, when the pandemic started, the only factory that was making sanitizers in East Africa was Saraya Manufacturing Uganda Limited in Jinja. So there are some advantages in having a lot of Waragi. I don't like drinking, but this time I appreciated the drunkards. In the cabinet, while discussing this point, somebody suggested that we should stop the export of the sanitizers because we needed them badly here in Uganda. As a Christian and as a traditional Munyankore, I could not accept that logic. It is called okuhemuka, to let down friends, colleagues, partners, anybody that trusted in your solidarity, by saying that because you are in great need, those who depended on you, on your solidarity, can go to hell. A real Munyankore can never do that, except those who are eating pigs in Kampala. If you see those Munyankore who are eating pigs, maybe they may do this. But a real Munyankore cannot say, because I have a problem, you go to hell. No. You suffer with your friend. If you don't, it is a serious offense in the code of conduct of the Munyankore, and it is called okuhemuka. Apart from the moral issues involved, there is also the issue of strategy. You should always remember that there is a tomorrow. If you let me down today, when I'm in such a great need as life and death for my people, just like you also have the same crisis, how will I ever depend on your partnership in the future? It seriously undermines international partnership. What I decided in the case of the sanitizers was to advise the Honorable Jenna Cheng to put aside 40% of the production for Uganda and share the 60% with other East Africans. I could not kuhunga to abandon upon fraternal peoples and partners by upon them, let them down, just because I am in acute need myself. I share the hardships with my fraternal people or partners. Nevertheless, the egocentrism in the world is also good for us, the patriots and Pan-Africanists in Africa. It makes it much easier to arouse even the most indifferent who are busy dancing and taking alcohol, that Africa must take care of itself. I salute our scientists who have developed the diagnostics, have been working on the therapeutics, and also the vaccine. 2 of our diagnostics are ready for manufacturing, and we're in the process of putting up the factory to mass manufacture. The therapeutic has been tried in 53 patients, and we need a minimum of 124. Up to now, results are good. This therapeutic, this medicine, in the month of March, February, a bit of May, April, we had a problem. We didn't have patients. There were no corona patients. Very few. So we didn't have enough numbers. The authorities, the research authorities say, for us to say the medicine works, we must try it in 124 people. Up to now, we have got up to 53 patients. Up to now, results are good. With the vaccine, we have got to phase 4 out of 9 phases. At this stage, I need to renew my demand, but this time renew it as an order that should be implemented. Many years ago, I proposed that government scientists must start with shillings 4 million when they join the public service as a pay per month. The top scientists in the research institution should be earning 15 million shillings, like professors in public universities. This is because we want to retain the large number of scientists we have trained so that they solve our needs, the needs of health, nutrition, infrastructure, but also benefit from the pathogenic economy. Pathogenic economy, the economy of diseases. There is business in diseases. Other people in the world have been making money from our sicknesses. We shall earn more money from the pathogenic economy than from coffee. Therefore, paying our scientists well is not a favor to them. It is first and foremost in the enlightened self-interest of the country. All these are temporary phenomena: locusts, floods, rising water of the lakes, landslides, corona, etc. We are coping with them. But our real historical task is to cause socio-economic transformation of our society. This society must go from its pre-capitalist, pre-industrial way of life to a middle class, skilled working class society. When the French Revolution took place in 1789, the French society, which I suspect was a microcosm of the wider European societies, was a 4-class society: feudalist, capitalist, called bourgeoisie, working class, also called proletariat, and peasant. At that time, the society in Uganda was a 3-class society: feudalists, artisans, and peasants. Today, the European societies are 2 classes ones. These 2 classes being the middle class, being sustained by profits from the businesses, and the skilled working class, the proletariat, who depend on good salaries to sustain them, plus a welfare system when they are out of work. So Europe has undergone a social metamorphosis, has changed, like the process which we know in biology, where the insects change form. No more peasants in Europe. If you go to Europe and you are looking for peasants, you will not find any. No more feudalists in Europe. Here in Africa, so many actors are engaged in the peasant conservation. and also some elements of feudalism. It is this incomplete metamorphosis of society that I've been addressing ever since 1986, when we got a chance to run the country, and even before, when we were still in the student movement. Our appeal is for everybody to join the money economy and get out of Okora Echida Kyonka, you remember those Bagwere? Teach me each keken, Akoru, Akoik Bon in Ateso, Rugubara, Azi, Ngaza, Aleni. We must get out of that problem. As you have seen, even modest walking up of sections of our people from Kulambara, Ninomatek, even using old methods, generated a lot of production. Some of the increased production, fortunately, has got big international demand. Coffee falls into this category. We have gone from 3 million bags to 7 million bags. Fortunately, the global demand is able to take all the coffee, because the global coffee demand is 166.3 million 60 kilogram bags. The global demand for milk products is 906 billion liters, valued at US dollars 458 billion. Therefore, our present production of 2.6 billion liters of milk can enter the global market, provided we solve the problem of cattle diseases such as foot and mouth, CBPP, anthrax, etc., and of course, also offer competitive prices. Therefore, the Banyankore I once met at Rwachtura, clamoring for high milk prices, need to know more about this global competition for market with other countries, such as New Zealand, Holland, etc. Our people need to know that if we are to compete for global markets, our products must be good quality, must be safe, but also cheaper than what other countries are offering. So one day I attended a meeting at Rwachtura with the Banyankore there. I said, oh, we want more money for milk. Okay. But if your milk becomes too expensive, how will it compete in London and Beijing and New Delhi and New York with milk from other countries? So we need to wake up our people that we are struggling in a global environment. The global demand for maize and maize products is 852 million metric tons, valued at $153 billion. Therefore, our production of 5 million tons of maize can be absorbed, provided we solve the problem of quality, getting rid of the shameful aflatoxins caused by people who mishandle food in harvesting. Why do you mishandle people's food? Wait for the maize to dry properly on the chikonko. Chikonko is the Nyankore word for maize stalk, the maize stalk. When you harvest it, put it on canvas, in tundubare, or cemented drying ground, etc. The maize will dry properly and simply, and there will be no aflatoxins. The Iranians came here and they wanted to buy all our maize. Their annual demand is 9.4 million tons. The Iranians wanted to buy all our maize because we have got very good relations with them. They import 7 million tons. The problem was ourselves. Negligence in handling food we want to sell to people. Awibarogo, Barogo, the one who gives something bad to somebody to eat. Are we to sell good products to people or to sell bad things to people? How can it be that we want to sell bad things to people? Because we shall be turned into as if we are Barogo, like the poisoners of people. Algeria imports 300 billion tons of powdered milk per annum. To produce this milk powder, you need, I don't know whether this figure is correct. It was put in by my people. I need to check it. To produce this milk powder, they say you need 2.7 trillion liters of milk. So the powdered milk Algeria consumes would finish off all this milk here we are talking about. Nigeria, but I'm not sure about these people's figures. With many, but anyway, the point is that Algeria and Nigeria consume a lot of powdered milk, and to produce powdered milk, you need a lot of liquid milk. And we produce a lot of powdered milk here. So these people could buy this milk. With many of Uganda's products, there is a global market, but we must solve the issues of safety. I will not talk of quality, because our agricultural products are the best quality in the world. In terms of quality, they are the best. When we had this inauguration here, I met delegations at Munyonyo. And as part of my diplomatic protocol, I would have my menvu, the kabaragara, the small sweet banana, and bogoya. People like those products. They like bogoya. They like this small sweet banana, kabaragara. They like the pineapple of Uganda is among the best. The millet, the milk, they are the best quality. The problem is the mishandling by our producers who are not well sensitized. I've been telling the world what you know, the huge surpluses of so many products as a consequence of the limited waking up of sections of our people. Only a very small number of people have woken up to produce for the market. Yet, this is a mere ndozo. Ndozo is when you jaribu, ini jaribu tu, to make people taste. If you take beef, dairy sector for instance, the beef and dairy sector for instance, the big increase in the milk production is in spite of still using the free-range method. We are still using free-range, cows roaming around, where cattle are sent to the bush or farm to graze when the farm is bush cleared. In this method, the stocking ratio is only 1.5 cattle per acre per annum. So in a square mile, you will have like 300 cows in a square mile. Some years ago, I went to Israel and saw 1,000 Frisian cows in 1 acre. I was with Mama here. We saw those cows, 1,000 Frisians, just being fed in 1 acre. Recently, I met somebody from the UAE, from the United Arab Emirates, who told me that their company has a herd of 18,000 heads of cattle in 250 acres. Here, in the whole square mile, we find we have got just 300 cows. We should systematically, therefore, shift to zero grazing. If you talk to Dr. Demoon, the Commissioner of Veterinary, she will tell you that when you grow the grass in the farm and you cut it and you feed the cows zero grazing instead of them going to feed, you'll be able to look after 8 Frisian cows in 1 acre in a year. So if you have got 10 acres, you can actually look after 80 cows in a year, Frisians. So therefore, with our 18 million heads of cattle, 1/3 of which would be milking at any one time, each giving 20 liters, the total production would be 44 billion liters of milk in a year. The same for bananas. While the rural farmers have been producing 5 tons of bananas per hectare per year, Dr. Muranga at Nyarzinga in Bushenyi has got to 53 tons per hectare per annum. And I hear that in Brazil, they go up to 80 tons per hectare per annum. This increased production is partly due to irrigation, fertilizers, etc. This is why, in my inauguration speech, I emphasized the question of the market for products. For Ugandan products, if the Ugandans wake up, all of them. Again, to remind everybody, the answers are 4 on the issue of the market. The internal market of Uganda, boosted by increased purchasing power, when all homesteads join the money economy by producing for the stomach, but also for producing for the pocket. Secondly, the East African market through the East African community. Thirdly, the African market through the continental free trade area. And fourthly, the global market through the trade access agreements with like AGOA, the Chinese preferential access market, the European Union, where they allow everything but arms, and also access to other markets on the merit of the quality and pricing of our products. Once all the leaders are clear on these points, we shall more easily be able to implement the guidelines we have put out for the whole country. Who is to produce low-value crops but on a large scale, such as sugarcane, cotton, maize, tobacco, etc., and who is to produce high-value products on a smaller scale, such as coffee, milk, fruits, poultry, piggery, horticulture, and who should do both. We should really, if you want to help our people, this parliament, please. We had a long discussion in Kyankwanzi with the new MPs. There's nothing we didn't discuss. I hope the way forward is clear. The difference between extensive agriculture, where you produce low-value crops but on a big scale, and intensive agriculture, where you use smaller land but you produce high-value crops. If we all be clear on that, the future is bright. Let all the leaders stop confusing people by sending contradictory or divergent messages. The NRM message ever since 1966 has been all homesteads to join the money economy using Ekibaro, Chura, Otita, IMAR, profitability assessment to guide their enterprise selection. Prices of products are determined by the market, not by government, unless we provide subsidies, which we cannot afford and few have sustainably afforded in the world. Moreover, our products must be safe for consumption, good quality, and competitive prices. And the markets are four: internal, East African, African, and global. The colonial approach is no longer possible, where they say, you produce the coffee and cotton, we guarantee to buy them at guaranteed prices. We don't have time here to go into that, but that was a colonial approach for a narrow range of products, just 2 or 3. But if you are going to have 20, 30 products, how will you provide subsidy for them? The world of production is now for competition, and it can be done. With this clear vision, I strongly urge our people to join the 4 sectors: commercial agriculture, industries, services, and ICT. With commercial agriculture, we are emphasizing the parish model. At the parish, you are able to know all the homesteads. Because when you are sub-county constituency is too far, you may not know all the homesteads. For instance, I know that in Ndangaro parish, in Rubirizi, is 3,330 homesteads. Ndangaro parish is that parish which I visited some time ago, when the homesteads were still 2,500, and they were all democratically without money, except one man, Kateva, who had 7 pigs. And when I asked those people, I said, how did Kateva get 7 pigs? They said, even his father was a rich man. Now, you hear that the homesteads in Ndangaro parish are now 3,330. They have increased. Ruengaju is in Kabarole. The homesteads are 3,196. But these ones are doing very well. The ones of Ruengaju are a model. They listen to our advice and they are doing very well. Maware parish, here in Ruero, where my model farm of Kaumu is, there are 1,480 homesteads. So when you are at the parish model, you are able to know how many homesteads. You will be able to know who has woken up and who is still asleep. Our aim is to make all the homesteads to wake up. On the side of industries, we shall continue to deal with the issue of costs of manufacturing in Uganda. The cost pushers are 3. The cost of money, interest rates of the exploitative commercial banks. These commercial banks are really suckers. Banyunyusi, the cost of transport to Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Juba, Kigali, Congo, Ethiopia, etc. The cost of electricity. The other cost would be the cost of labor. However, that is still low. It is not a problem yet. The cost of
Essa mulher da Casa Road, fala do Socavo!